Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick, and this is your number one non-boring source for personal development. And today on the line, we have Jason Selk. Dr. Jason Selk is the Director of Mental Training for the St Louis Cardinals. He's author of 10-Minute Toughness and the newly released book titled Executive Toughness, the mental training program to increase your leadership performance, which is what we're here to talk about today. Jason, thank you so much for being on today's show.
James, thanks so much for having me. Much appreciated.
It's good to have you on. I want to dive in and talk about this mental toughness thing. What does it mean to be mentally tough, and where did you get this idea?
We're going to dive right in head first, huh?
Yeah, we are.
Mental toughness, my definition of mental toughness is the mind's ability to focus on and execute solutions. I think about mental toughness all the time. I think what you'll find is I'm extremely passionate about what I do, and so when I'm eating vegetarian pizza, when I'm driving through, when I'm at the movies, my mind is thinking about what is mental toughness. And for the last year or so, that's been the definition. Might be there for a while. I like this one. I think it works. And so in terms of what I've done is, instead of identify what really mental toughness is, I've really tried to help people figure out, how do you get it?
Okay. And I think the vegetarian pizza thing, that we got a lot in common there. I was just eating some pizza right before the interview, that's why. Okay, so how do you get mentally tough? I mean, you've got to go from a place of where you're not tough to get there. So what is it that inspired you to be mentally tough? First of all, was there that point of time where you just felt like you weren't getting it done and you needed to be more mentally tough?
Well, there's a couple of reasons, and that certainly is one. I think up until I was about 20 years old, I was the classic underachiever. I would do just what it took to make the grade, just what it took to make the team, but never would I put the effort in or put myself in a position to achieve at the high level of my potential. And probably for me, the biggest obstacle to my becoming mentally tough was I made excuses. I would blame it on the teacher. I would blame it on the coach. I would blame it on my parents. I would blame it on my teammates. I would blame it on my brother. I would blame it on anyone other than me. And so because I continued to do that, I write in the second book, excuses are the antithesis to growth. If you give an excuse, you really lock yourself into the current method of behavior. And so one of the things in terms of becoming mentally tough, I knew I wanted to be great. I've known ever since I was a very young child that I wanted to be great. But I kind of looked at my life and I thought, well, I'm already 20, really not anywhere close to greatness. If I continue doing this is how my experience is probably going to turn out. And I thought, this is probably how most people go through life. They want to be great, but don't really know exactly what it takes to become great. And so I really started to put together, that's the fundamental of the second book, which is, what are those 10 mental toughness guidelines or characteristics, if you will, that those who are highly successful or those who are extremely mentally tough, that's what they have in common. And that's what I put into, pardon me, my
That's
office.
okay, yeah.
That's what I tried to put into the second book, is what are those 10 mental toughness characteristics? And really, what you'll find is those people who are the most successful out there, they have these in common, and it's not overwhelming. And so I'll try to answer the second part of it, is how do you develop it? First of all, learn what those fundamentals are. And there's a second piece in there. One of the fundamentals is something I call mentally prepare every day. And there's a mental workout that I developed. It's probably what propelled me to have a high level of success with athletes as a sports psychology consultant. That's what I was doing for probably the first 10 or 12 years of my career. That mental workout is literally, for the professional athlete, it was 3 minutes and 40 seconds worth of mental preparation on a daily basis.
Now, Jason, how do they have time for that? That's just too long. 3 minutes and 40 seconds?
James, if I could promise you that I would improve your life, your health, your happiness, and success, and all you would have to give me was 3 minutes and 40 seconds a day, is it too long?
Done, Jason, done.
No, for the athletes, one of the things that's a little harder sell. This is the great thing for the business person, for the people like you and I trying to improve in their careers as well as just in their personal lives. We don't have to learn how to hit a 96-mile-an-hour fastball with terrific movement. We don't have to do that. To be honest with you, it's a lot easier for us to be successful than those Major League Baseball players. So for us, it only takes 1 minute and 40 seconds. Can I get you on board with that one?
Oh, you've sold me. I'm done. But before we dive into it, because I really want to just back up and emphasize what you said earlier, which is to go from wanting greatness to actually becoming greatness, you made a decision. And that decision is now what you call, being mentally tough. And there's fundamentals to that. And now we're about to do that workout. But I just wanted to touch on that. You went from just wanting something to making a decision to become that. And that made all the difference. You set higher standards and you started to apply yourself differently. And that's huge. I mean, it's a huge point. So now this is the workout for developing that mental toughness. So now I'm ready. What do we got to do?
Can I comment on what you just said there right before that? Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to have you come work with me because you are exactly in the mind frame that I want people to be in. And here's one thing I want to say is, you have to make the decision, yes. But one of the things that was, I guess, eye-opening for me was you don't have to go from 0 to 60 overnight. That's not really how it works. Once you decide to become better, to be better at taking action, then slowly but surely you start to get yourself in the habit of, and there's a person I write about, and it's one of the fundamentals. I actually call it Gable discipline. A guy by the name of Dan Gable. He was the best in the world at two different things, as an athlete and then as a coach. Anyway, Coach Gable talks about practicing discipline. And that's the whole idea is you don't have to go from where you are to perfect overnight or in one day. That's not how it works. Just make the decision to daily improve. And then every day you make that decision, it actually becomes easier and easier the next day and the continuous days to keep making it. It's inertia. A body in motion is likely to stay in motion.
And it's also happening on a subconscious level. It's the rewiring, the conditioning of the brain happens little by little. It doesn't just immediately get how to ski or get how to be an all-performing athlete. Little by little, you condition your nervous system and your psychology.
Absolutely. And another piece of that, kind of the mortar that holds the bricks together on that, if you will, is it's self-confidence. If every day you do something different that is better, you start to grow your self-confidence in the fact that you can control your success. And that confidence, it's the number, you do the research, the number one variable in the entire field of sports psychology as well as performance psychology is confidence. And that's the thing is, you got to start by making the decision and then starting to move towards it.
Okay, so now I'm excited. How do we do this mental toughness training?
All right, so here's the mental workout. And again, this is just one of the 10 fundamentals, but I think it's a really important piece. It's something that's concrete and people can really wrap their mind around. It's 100 seconds long. I'll go through the 100 seconds. The first thing you do is something called a centering breath. Okay. That centering breath is you just breathe in for 6, you hold for 2, you breathe out for 7. Let's do it. I'll count. Okay. You do the breathing. You ready? Exhale. Okay. And on my count, in for 6. Exhale, in for 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Hold for 2. 1, 2, out for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. Now, the reason we want to do the centering breath is the way the heart or the body and the brain work is if the heart rate elevates, which the heart rate is supposed to elevate anytime you go into a pressure situation. The heart rate elevates, it actually sends a message to the brain to disable itself. You lose your ability for detailed thinking. That doesn't make any sense. That's counterintuitive, but that's how biologically it happens. That centering breath, anytime you feel stress, anxiety, pressure, if you take the centering breath, it controls the heart rate so that your brain will work effectively. You'll still have the ability for detailed thought. That takes 15 seconds. The next thing you do is you repeat to yourself an identity statement. This takes about 5 seconds to complete. Now, an identity statement is really nothing more than a personal mantra, but it's specifically focused on what it takes for you to be successful and what level of success you want to achieve. For example, my identity statement is I achieve excellence every day as a husband and a father. I outwork the competition. I'm the most effective performance coach in the country. Talk to myself on a daily basis. I tell myself those things. At some point, I start to believe in it. Once I believe in it, look out, then my work ethic will take off.
Being. Yep. So you center yourself and you start rooting yourself in this being, and out of that is going to flow the actions and the behavior because you have that confidence. Once you believe it, you have that confidence.
Absolutely. So then I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to start using visualization. So the third tool, and this is the longest or the lengthiest of the 5 steps of the mental workout. This takes 60 seconds. It's visualization. The first 30 seconds of the 60 seconds, I would want you to visualize something called the vision of self-image. Your vision of self-image is specifically the level of success you want to achieve in 5 years. And I want you to be precise in that I want you to identify the top 3 priorities in your life, and let's really only focus on that high-level success in those priority areas. For example, many people choose their priority areas of career, relationship with family, and then relationship with self or a spiritual relationship. I'm not telling you what your priorities should be. That's just a pattern that I've seen in terms of when people come up with their 3 priorities. So I spend 30 seconds and I see myself living that life with that level of success that I want to achieve and that person I want to be in 5 years. And then what I do is another 30 seconds of visualization. It's called the integrity piece. Integrity is imagine now what your next day is, like literally what's on your calendar and what do you need to do behavior-wise in those priority areas so that in 5 years you really will be living that vision of self-image you just created. Now, the mere act of visualizing the next day in those priority areas, your adherence to action will dramatically increase. It's such an important piece. After the visualization, again, I repeat the same my identity statement to myself, and then I take another centering breath and I'm finished. Voila, 100 seconds, and if you do it every day, I can promise you, you will see an increased ability for you to stay focused and to execute on the things that you want to do that will cause you to have the success you want to have.
I love it. All right, so let's break it down again. We've got the 15-second centering breath. Then you've got the identity statement, and that statement is what you're doing, your roles, and as concise as you can be. And I love how concise you've made it for yourself. So you said, I achieve excellence every day as a husband and father, outwork the competition, and I'm the most effective performance coach in the country. So you've kind of touched on your career area, your role as a husband and a father, and your positioning in your career, right? And also achieving excellence. Okay, so you've consolidated it, very concise. Then you visualize for 30 seconds where you want to be with those top 3 priorities, right?
Yes, in 5 years.
In 5 years. Okay, so you visualize where you want to be in 5 years, and then the integrity piece is you imagine what you would need to do next, maybe in today or over the next 24 hours, right?
Absolutely.
And then you make the integrity or the identity statement again as you wrap up.
Absolutely.
And that's everything. That's in 100 seconds.
And one more centering breath. Finish with that same breath.
Finish with the centering breath. Okay, I love it. It's brilliant. It's simple, but it touches on everything, and it's something that you have no excuse as to why you can't do it. You could do it waiting in line. You could do it in the car. Now, tell me why this works. I mean, we get the process now. So it's the 15-second centering breath, identity statement, visualizing where you're going to be in the next 5 years, clarity of what you're going to do over the next 24 hours to be in integrity with that. So as you said, it's action adherence. Your actions are in alignment with what you're creating in your life. And then you say the identity statement again, and you go through the centering breath. So again, very simple, under 100 seconds. Very clear, very simple. Why does it work?
Let me tell you, I'm going to answer that 2 ways. I'm going to tell you first what the number 1 obstacle to mental toughness is, and then I'll tell you why it works. Number 1 obstacle to mental toughness is something called PCT, problem-centric thinking. Problem-centric thinking is your mind's tendency to focus on problems and or what you don't have, rather than solutions or what you do have. I'll give you an example. The greatest resource known to humankind is oxygen. When is the last time you thought to yourself, Wow, this is great. I have an abundance of the most valuable resource known to mankind. Normally we just don't focus on all those solutions that are all around us, all those things that we do have. But what we do
already got
focus
them
on,
locked down.
that's right. What we do focus on, and this is it's a biological inevitability. Your brain's built just like mine. We focus on, I don't have enough money. I don't get enough respect. I don't have enough free time. All the problems, all the things that we don't have. That's PCT. That's the number one reason mental toughness is so hard. Okay, and so how come this mental workout and applying these other 9 mental toughness fundamentals work? It's this thing called expectancy theory. That which you focus on expands. And so remember, the normal course of action is to focus on problems. But expectancy theory, which is empirically proven all day long, if you allow yourself to focus on problems, you're going to have more problems. And so the trick, the way to get an edge in life is to control the thoughts that go on in your head. Control them in a way that you're more focused on what you want and what it takes to get what you want instead of what will come normally, which is what you don't have and why you can't get it. And
that's what. So unless you take control of this process, then you're sort of like a victim of your biological programming.
Absolutely beautifully said.
Okay. And so really it's the discovery that you have this power to override your biological programming through this 100-second process. And the more you do it, the more you're directing the control of your focus, which is then expanding what you're going to have show up in your life.
Absolutely. And so let me say this too. You've heard of the law of diminishing returns?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the more you do something, the less of the return you're going to get on it.
Yes.
This is inverted. This is like compounding interest. The more you do it, the more you practice your mental toughness, the more in control of your life you become, which is so great because a lot of people think, well, if I do this, it's going to, in the end, slow me down. It'll stop working. It couldn't be further from the truth. The more you do it, the more you commit to it, the more in control of your health, happiness, and success you'll be.
And science can attest to this too, in the neuroplasticity of the mind. The more repetitious, whatever it is that we do, thought patterns, behavior patterns, the more we do it, the more those neurons kind of droop together and lock together and actually become a new brain. So you literally are carving out or creating a new brain the more you do this. So this, science just backs up completely what you're talking about here.
Absolutely. Effective mental patterning. And remember, by nature, we have ineffective mental patterning. We're built in a way that we, by nature, focus on problems. That's bad news. But you can literally train your mind to change its makeup, the plasticity. Exactly right. There's a book out there right now, How the Brain Changes Itself. It's a great book. It talks exactly about what you're saying.
Well, I mean, this is so exciting because it really does liberate us from old programming, old psychology, old nervous system conditioning to literally take charge of our life, and you've made it really simple. And I wish we had time to go through all the other fundamentals, but that's why you've got a book, right?
Absolutely. And I would strongly encourage, and I tell people all the time, if you don't like the book, let me know. I promise you, if you will read this book, commit to using it, and do not get dramatic results, let me know. I'll buy that book right back from you.
All right. Well, that's a guarantee that you can't refuse. Where do you go to get the book, Jason?
I would encourage people, any bookstore in the country is going to have it probably, I think it should be in all bookstores by the 25th of November. Another place, you can go to all the online retailers. I also encourage people, go visit my website. On my website, I have worksheets that accompany the book. I have videos that accompany the book, so it might be just a nice compliment. But you can get the book at any bookstore across the country.
All right, and what's the title of that book again, Jason?
Executive Toughness.
Executive Toughness. It's on the website. It's in the bookstores. jasonselk.com. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today's show? And don't let me forget, we've got a free gift that is going out to everybody who's watching right now. So any final thoughts, and then we'll tell them where to get the free gift.
Yeah, let me say just one other thing that I think is so important to mental toughness. We've become, and I think it's very normal for us to be this way, we focus on results. We're a result-based culture, and that's okay. Especially working with pro athletes, That's what it comes down to, is you have to produce results. However, it's somewhat paradoxical. In fact, it's called the paradox of the product, or paradox of the result goal. If you allow yourself to judge your success on pure results, we're in trouble. Pressure is going to get the best of you, and it's going to probably eat you up. What I really want you to learn to do is have a result goal. But with every result goal, identify 2 to 3 what are called process goals. The process goals are, what are those daily activities that if you do, will put you in a position to achieve the product goal? And that's what I want people to learn to define their success with, is, are you achieving those process goals? Are you doing those activities daily? And then what we know is the results will come. You will be, in fact, happier, healthier, and more successful by focusing on the process goals as opposed to the result goals.
Now, this is huge. I mean, if you're watching and listening to this right now, I mean, it sounds simple, but what you just stated is very, very important, and that is, we become so fixated on goals, that when they hang out there forever, you can become depressed because you're not achieving those goals. Yep. And what you're saying is, around those goals, build around 2 or 3 process goals, which means that every day I'm going to do X, and it's something that's achievable, it's something specific, and it's something that you know that if you did on a daily basis, even if you set a goal of having so much money in 6 months or 12 months or whatever, even if you missed that goal, as long as you have created the discipline of achieving the process goal every day, and you evaluate your success on the basis of that, know that as long as you were clear and specific about that process goal, you're increasing the probabilities of having more wealth, more success, more health, whatever it is, as long as you're doing those things on a daily basis. And maybe that's something I've done subconsciously and have now made it very conscious for myself, but I live by that and it works. So, I mean, what you're stating is huge. And guess what? The only way somebody is going to be able to eventually achieve a goal is if they increase the probabilities through their daily actions today. So it's a very brilliant and important point that I hope everybody absorbs right now.
Agreed. And I won't take credit for it. That comes directly from the most successful coach of all time, John Wooden. He literally knew more about winning than any human being to walk the face of the earth. And this was probably his number one fundamental. So I'm just passing on those words of wisdom there from Coach Wooden. And you're right. What people will find is, if you really buy into it, you will take control of those results, and you take the pressure off your back. You don't have to worry on a daily basis, am I hitting my numbers or not, because you're in control of your activity.
Yeah, and every day you could evaluate where you're at instead of waiting, oh man, I missed my goal and it's a time for a New Year resolution. So happiness, and this is really what it's all about. Happiness is about that perceived progress. And if you have it daily, it's easier to be happy, to perceive the progress, and to be in control of that progress than it is to set some lofty goal and keep aiming for it and hope you're going to hit it and not see perceived progress and to have control over your days.
Agreed. Could not have said it better myself.
Well, Jason, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, my friend. I encourage everybody to get a copy of Executive Toughness. They can get it on your website or check it out in bookstores. And again, this 100-second mental toughness training, I understand you've got a free gift for everybody that's watching and has hung in there and been mentally tough as we did this interview. Where can they pick up a copy of this?
If you'll go to the website and click on the Executive Toughness tab, there's a short video on there that will, again, kind of walk you through and how to put together your own 100-second mental workout.
Okay, you go to jasonselk.com, click on the Executive Toughness tab, and the video will walk you through it. Jason, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, my friend. I encourage everybody to go check out the book, check out the video, and be sure and like and subscribe to Full Potential Show so you get more great insights from folks like Jason and freebies that you'll only find right here on the Full Potential Show. Thanks again, Jason.
Thanks, James, and all the best to you and all the listeners out there.
Thanks, buddy. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Full Potential Show, your number one non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like the Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? reduce your work hours, travel the world, enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you know you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.